Yes, sir.
What would you ever put in for metadata in an injectable decorator there?
So I think you could do like additional providers in here. That's a good question.
So the injectable decorator is only needed if you want to inject other services into that service. So in this case, Lukas isn't injecting anything into that service. So if he got rid of injectable, it'll actually still work. But if he were to put a service in that service, then he would need injectable.
Well, there's some confusion. I have some confusion around that. I think the document actually is not crystal clear about that. So Pascal Precht, the way he writes in his blog post, you would think that you only need injectable if you need to inject something into it. But the document says that injectable, it makes that service available to the injector to be injected into other things for injection. And so that's, I will be the first person to admit that I'm confused.
Beta.
Yeah. So to that I just say beta.
But you should always use the injectable because you never know. If you write this in third-party module, you never know, if somebody's going to extend this or like you have to go back. So just always do it because it won't hurt to add it, but it won't hurt you if you don't add it.
So Scott just reached in and pulled me from the abyss. Thank you. Nice save. All right, you ready to talk about routes or what?
Well, there's a question here. Is there a way to inject the pricing service without putting it at the root app component level?
So I believe you can go. Does this take? I'm getting all green, so I'm thinking.
So by doing that, you're getting a new instance of the
Yeah, so I think you
pricing
can inject it right in here. Let me just check real quick. Angular IO. This is where muscle memory. Injectable metadata. You may, the way that I'm reading it, actually have to inject it into a top-level component for it to be available for your service. It doesn't look like this actually takes any parameters, which is interesting.
Yeah, the injectable director doesn't take any injectables, which is weird because its name is injectable.
This just seems like hypocritical. Like, look, I want to be injected, but like I'm not accepting. Seems rather one way. So anyways, apparently at this point, in order to get a service available to another service, you have to inject it. It's some top-level component. If I find out anything different, I'll let you know.
So some random thing on the internet said if you use component, you don't need to use injectable. So maybe you can use component and give it providers.
Interesting. If you could find that random thing, post a link somewhere, that would be helpful. We are a community. A child does not raise itself.
The other way, there's a way to get your service. So you just have to have injectable on your service, and then the service that you want to inject, just annotate it inside the constructor of the service that you're trying to inject it into, and it should work.
And you can annotate it directly in the constructor?
Yep, you can annotate it directly in the constructor. As long as you import it in the top of the file, you should be fine.